Hello again, everyone. I've often said that trying to figure out what's going on in North Korea is like looking through the cracks of a fence. You know, you see a little bit of something, and you're trying to figure out what's going on and how you can apply that to, you know, the country at large or a specific area you're looking at. And an excellent example of this, of peeking through the crack in a fence, is a song that's performed by the Chongbong Band, Red River Valley. And this is just absolutely wonderful. It's another one of these things that I run across that totally surprised me. When I first heard the Chongbong Band doing Red River Valley, I was just totally blown away. Going, again, this is coming out of North Korea? Really? And I thought, well, you know, how do you explain this? How do you explain this thing? And I'm going to take you through it here. I'm going to play the song at the end, but I'm going to give you a little analysis on it and tell you what I think is going on here. The Chongbong Band, I believe it was created in the middle of 2016, I think July or something of last year. And a lot of people thought it was a replacement for the Chongbong Band. It turned out that wasn't true. To my way of thinking, they probably had a surplus of really, really good singers and musicians, and so they just built another band. And unlike the Chongbong Band, the Chongbong Band got to go to Moscow, I believe, and a couple of other places. And the Chongbong Band was out of the country only once. It went to China, and that was a disaster, and a subject for another video. But the Chongbong Band was named after a secret camp that Kim Il-sung used when he was his guerrilla fighters, leading the guerrilla fighters against the Japanese occupation. So that's kind of where the name came from. And the camp is probably somewhere up north there. Now keep in mind that, that I'm looking at this from an American perspective, simply because I'm an American. And you know, what else am I going to do? And another reason is because, you know, the relationship between the United States and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea has been a little rocky, you know, to put it mildly. So anything I can do to kind of, you know, ease the tension a little bit, I'm going to do it in my tiny, minuscule way. So that's what I'm all about here. But in order to figure out what's going on here, we're going to have to connect a few dots and kind of discuss what's going on here. The Chongbong Band version of Red River Valley is quintessentially American. It's just, that's the way it is. It's just, I don't know how they did it that well. But I have not heard any American group do Red River Valley quite like Chongbong Band. And like I say, they hit it perfectly American. And American music is blues, gospel, jazz, rock and roll, and some country. That's American music. And where did American music come from? Well, there's a lot of theories about this, but the way I look at it is, I think back in 1845 to 1849 was the Irish potato famine. And about 1 million people in Ireland died, and another 1 million fled the country. And a lot of those Irish people came to the United States. They weren't treated very well, and so they went into the South. And there they met the African slaves that had been brought over by from Africa. And so the Irish, when they came to America, they brought their music, as did the Africans. So there was this melding of the Irish and the African. And you might think that the Irish, you might look at it this way, the Irish, they provided the body of the music, the melody and the body, and the Africans provided the soul. And this music, I can almost point to the exact place and date that this melding took place. And it was in Memphis, Tennessee in 1862. And why that is, I mean, somebody, if you want to answer that, if you want me to answer that question, just leave a comment below and I'll answer why I think that happened. But 1862, Memphis, Tennessee. And so it wasn't a complete melding because the Irish still kept their music and Africans still kept theirs. But when it did come together, you had something special happen. And like I say, it was blues, gospel, jazz, rock and roll, and some country music. And here in the Chongbong Band's expression of Red River Valley, you see almost all of those. You'll see blues, you'll see a little gospel flavor, you'll see jazz, definitely jazz, and you'll see a tinge of rock and roll. But a lot of blues and jazz in there. And it's amazing how this happened. Now let me, the Red River Valley is a pretty simple song. And there's an argument where it came from. Some people think it came from Manitoba up in Canada, or Alberta, or somewhere up there. Some people think it came from like upper New York, or the upper Midwest, or somewhere. Nobody knows. My opinion is that it's an Irish melody, and it's derivative. And what I mean by derivative is you start out with a simple melody, and then you do all these different variations on it to create other songs. But it goes back to an original Irish tune somewhere, you know, 200 or 300 years ago, 500 years ago, or whatever. And as it's come down to us, things have changed. And it has, I think it has 3 chords, C, F, and G, and they're all major chords. And those are very easy chords to play, either on a piano, but especially a guitar. I mean, anybody, you know, even if you don't know how to play the guitar, somebody can show you how to do the chords, and in 15 minutes, you can be strumming Red River Valley. It's that simple. It's one of those just little simple campfire songs. Now, mostly when Americans have performed the Red River Valley, it has remained Irish. In other words, it is a cowboy song. A name of it a few years ago, or maybe 50 years ago, or whatever it was, they called it the Cowboy's Lament, because he was leaving his girlfriend. And he said, I'm sorry I have to go, I'll never see you again, goodbye. That's what the song is about. And so it's always almost remained an Irish song, which Irish music is basically the country and bluegrass. That's the Irish side of this. You know, the Irish African thing, the triangle. That's the Irish side of it. So whenever any Americans have performed Red River Valley, they've never added the African much. It's always been cowboy. So here's an example of the Irish, a representation of how the Irish in America have performed Red River Valley, and this is by a guy by the name of Michael Martin Murphy. I mean, that's a great Irish name, right? You can't get much more Irish than that. But he's an American, and he sings a lot of wonderful, and he does this very beautifully. And so I'm just going to play you a little bit here. So listen to how it's done traditionally, the cowboy way, if I might name it as that. You know, this is the cowboy way.
From this valley they say you are going. I will miss your bright eyes and sweet smile. They say you are taking the sunshine that has brightened our pathway. Come and sit by my side if you love me. Do not hasten to bid me adieu, but remember the Red River
So what do you think about that, huh? Michael Martin Murphey, Red River Valley. Now, let's hear what happens when, he did it, Michael Martin Murphey did it Irish, mostly the Irish traditional. Now, what happens when the African comes in? And I have never heard that here in America. But who did it? North Koreans. North Koreans bring in the African. And here's just a teaser of the song. I mean, I'll play the entire song at the end of the video, but here's a teaser of how the Chongbong Band does Red River Valley.
또 나는 그대를 바라보며 행복의 그 시절 그리네. 사랑을 약속한 이곳에서 작별의 인사를 나누네.
So you see how that wail comes in there, that blues? She just comes up and she just sings that blues note. It's still Red River Valley. But now she's got that African soul. She brought that in there, and you had to go all the way to North Korea to hear it, because I haven't heard it here. So, I mean, how can something like that be? Why do you have to go all the way to North Korea to have the African added to the Irish? I don't know, but that's what's interesting. So to answer that question, I think we have to take a look at what we know about what's going on out there. We have to take a look at the top. I think that what we know of the top leadership, where all the decisions are made in North Korea. And Eric Clapton is a blues guitarist. He's British, but he was heavily influenced by what we call the Three Kings, which was a B.B. King, Freddie King, and Albert King. These are all old school blues guitarists. And that's where Eric Clapton learned his trade, his skill, from listening to these three guys. And I'm sure he's met them and probably played with them, probably jammed with them. You want to know who was a big fan of Eric Clapton? That's right, Kim Jong-un. When he was at school in Switzerland, a lot of his classmates said, oh, he loved Eric Clapton. He'd play a lot of Eric Clapton stuff. And it might surprise you to know that not only is Kim Jong-un a big fan of Eric Clapton, but his brother is as well. His brother, Kim Jong-chul. And here, should have had these out here. Here's a couple of articles that might be interesting, you might find interesting, is that Kim Jong-chul, which I could say he's Kim Jong-un's older brother, and he attended an Eric Clapton concert at Royal Albert Hall, or Albert Royal Hall, whatever it is, in London, back in April of 2015. And here's a picture of him here in London. And here he is with Kang Kyung-wee. And she's the lead guitarist for the Chongbong Band. So I've circled her in the white ring there. And that's right, he brought her to London for the Eric Clapton concert. And it turns out that Kim Jong-chul really, he jams with, actually, according to reports I've heard, he jams with the Chongbong Band, with Kang Kyung-wee. But here's where it really kind of gets interesting, is that back in, I've got an article here from The Guardian in 2010, 7 years ago. And back in 2007, May of 2007, the U.S. ambassador to South Korea, he received a message from North Korea. And they wanted him to arrange an Eric Clapton concert in Pyongyang for Kim Jong-chul. And this was 10 years ago. So 10 years ago, Kim Jong-chul was enthusiastic about Eric Clapton. And the concert never happened, probably because the South Koreans stepped in. And since American foreign policy towards North Korea is controlled by South Korea, South Korea has veto power in whatever the United States does. So probably South Korea stepped in and said, sorry Americans, no Eric Clapton concert in Pyongyang. And so the American ambassador says, well, throw up his hands, what can I do? South Korea doesn't want it to happen, so it won't happen. But yeah, back then, Kim Jong-chul was a big fan. And he tried to get the Americans to arrange the concert. Too bad it didn't happen. So, but anyway, that's how blues got to North Korea, apparently, through Kim Jong-un and his brother, Kim Jong-chul. And they're both enthusiastic fans of Eric Clapton, and Eric Clapton learned his skill, his trade, from the Three Kings. So there you go. So when the Chongbong Band comes along with something really bluesy, and people right away think, hey, wait a minute, you know, this might be, they might be pushing the envelope here. They might be a little upsetting the people in charge, because this is American stuff. And, you know, we don't want to, you know, talking about cultural poisoning here. Well, you know, how can you have cultural poisoning when the Supreme Leader and his brother both love American blues, American style blues? So there you go. And so that's probably how it got there. But anyway, let me play this out for you, and the Chongbong Band doing the Red River Valley. And pardon the artifacts in the video, because I copied a low-resolution video, and for some reason my video editing software just can't handle it for whatever reason. And I've got a pretty good video card, and somehow it just doesn't do it. But anyway, just close your eyes and listen to the music, and listen to the structure. You know, they start out slow, then they accelerate, then you hear the singers, and then the harmony, and then they increase the tempo. Then you get that beautiful little trumpet solo that's really wonderful. And then they kick it up some more. And you've got, at the end, you've got that really wonderful bluesy wail thing comes in. If I had a nit to pick on this song, if I was advising them on how to make it better, it would be the bass guitar line. They're doing a kind of a walking bass, doom, 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 and they should have done a chicka-boom, with chicka-boom, 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 you know, ba-bum, 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 like a heartbeat, ba-bum, 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 ba-bum. And that would have made it much better. But still, the way they're doing it is really wonderful. So enjoy, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
작별의 인사를 나누네. 그대여 잠깐만 기다려요. 여기를 잊지 마시라.